Speaker. It's Emily!
Good afternoon, Legal Geek. My name's Emily Foges and I'm here on behalf of Support Send Kids, which is a charity that brings access to justice to the families of children with special educational needs and disabilities. Do I have a slide? There we go. Okay, so for those of you who were here this time last year, Denise Nurse got up on the stage to talk about this charity, and she made everyone put their hands up if they had had a child with special needs or disabilities, or knew someone who had a child with special needs or disabilities, and it was completely overwhelming, actually, the number of people who put their hands up. It was sort of 1 in 3, maybe slightly more of that in the room. And for me, that was a bit of a wake-up call, because actually, weirdly, Denise was telling my story. I just hadn't realised the extent to which I wasn't alone, and this is a very normal thing. So, 18 years ago, I was pregnant with my first child. She was due at the end of January, got to about mid-December, and I found myself needing to sit on the floor in a client meeting, which didn't seem right, and also isn't good behaviour. So I took myself home, and within 24 hours I was holding this tiny, floppy, very quiet baby, very early. So we had a tense few months, or in fact a tense few years really, where we looked at Iris and we wondered whether we'd ever be able to feed her without a syringe, whether she'd ever open her eyes to begin with, whether she'd ever sit up, whether she'd ever walk, whether she'd ever run, whether she'd ever talk. And lots of diagnoses came and went, lots of milestones came and went, the experts came and went, and eventually, with most life skills, Iris got there eventually. And here she is on her first day at primary school, really excited about it, as you can see. So her school was amazingly supportive and she absolutely loved it. But what we realised with Iris is she will get there eventually, she'll do it in her own time and she'll do it on her own terms. And that's a massive problem when you're at school, because schools need children to stick with the programme to at least a certain degree within certain parameters, right? So when she was about 7, her school very reluctantly threw in the towel and said, we can't support her anymore. And lots of experts agreed, no, she needs specialist schooling, she needs to go to a school that can give her what she needs. So this was the beginning for us of the EHCP journey. Could you please put your hand up if you know what EHCP stands for? See, quite a lot of people, right? Probably if you know what EHCP stands for, it brings on a little bit of a bout of PTSD for you. It certainly does for me. What we found when we've been working with the charity is we talk to parents who've been through the EHCP journey and they've forgotten what happened because it was so traumatic, it was so difficult, it's extremely bloody hard. EHCP stands for Educational Healthcare Plan, and it's effectively the contract between you as the parents of a child with special needs and the local authority who is legally obliged to give your child an education that's suitable for them. Getting there is very, very painful, and that is the reason why this charity has been set up. Let's just think about the numbers for a minute. So if you imagine that this bunch of kids here is a sort of typical year group in a school, 1 in 6 of those children officially need extra support in order to access education. That means they've been assessed, they've displayed some issues, and some expert has come along and said, right, you need something else. That doesn't mean that they have what they need. So the ones that actually have what they need, oh, the colours don't show up. Okay, there are 4 there, 4 little groups of children. So nationally, only 500,000 children actually have that support in place. That's about 1 in 24. So you've got to wonder, what happens to the rest of them? So if 15% of children need an EHCP and only about 3% actually get one, what happens in the meantime is you enter on this process which we went through for my family. Let me just explain how this was for us. You'll get an idea of where the rest of these families get to. So from that moment of the school saying we can't support Iris anymore, this process took 2 years. It's very normal for families to spend £30,000 on legal fees and expert fees to get to the point where they've got that contract in place. We spent many multiples of that, and we couldn't afford it. There was one day in particular which stands out for me when a lawyer's bill came in, which was much higher than we were expecting it to be, and I had to run around the house at the end of the month and find foreign currency and take it to the post office and change it in sterling, because we'd just run out of money for the everyday essentials, which with 3 small children in the house and 2 working parents is pretty scary. And all I was thinking at that point was, I know there are other kids in her class who also need extra support, and their parents don't have sharp elbows. They're not prepared to face off to the local authority. They don't have money sitting around the house that they can go and scrabble together. They don't have £30,000 to spend on legal fees. They're not going to get there. They're not going to get to the end of this journey. So they're the ones who are not going to get what they need. It's incredibly unfair. So at the end of that 2-year journey, the culmination of that is the tribunal. We turned up on the day of the tribunal with a barrister, an educational psychologist, a speech therapist and an occupational therapist, and a representative from the school that we wanted her to go to. We were spending £10,000 just for that day on those experts being there for that day, and the local authority didn't even bother to show up. The reason they didn't bother to show up was because they knew we were going to win. They always knew we were going to win. From the beginning of the journey, they knew that we would win if we saw it through to the end. And I think this is completely outrageous. So by 9:05, everyone went off to the golf course, and my husband and I went home and sort of collapsed in a heap in our desk chairs and tried to work and just fell asleep, because we were so emotionally drained. We were completely financially drained. The whole process had been so painful and so difficult, on top of everything else that you're dealing with. And we'd made it, and we'd got to the end, but so many families just can't. This is an access to justice issue, and Support Send Kids is doing something about it. So we're bringing together the legal profession, so people like you, and we've got this platform which is online where parents can come to Support Send Kids and they can ask questions about what their rights are. We've got lawyers working pro bono. We match them up so that they can get their questions answered. So we're publishing the easy access guides to getting in the HCP, negotiating with the local authority, just to enable as many parents as possible to get what they need without having to go through what I went through and what so many of us have been through to get to that point. And what we're aiming for everybody, is where Iris is today. She's had the right education because of the battle that we went through. She's now nearly 18. Her school runs a coffee shop and she works in the coffee shop. She's doing dance, she's riding horses, she's able to earn money. She'll never get a GCSE, she's not that person. But it doesn't matter, because she's going to be a useful, happy, confident member of society, and that's obviously what we want for all of these kids. And she's normal. Actually, having special needs is normal. It's 1 in 3 families in the UK. Here's a really good example of what happens when families come to Support Send Kids and what we want your help with. So Cherry got in touch with us, made us all cry a couple of weeks ago, because she came to the platform with a very specific problem around transport for her child. One of the lawyers working pro bono on behalf of Support Send Kids had a look at the law, helped her understand what her rights were. She went back to the local authority, who went, you know what? You are actually entitled to this. We didn't realise. Here's some money. And we've just realised there are lots of other people in the same boat, and we're going to give it to them as well. And that's why we're here. We want to make sure that parents can get access to the support that they need for their children without getting PTSD along the way and being financially ruined as well. So, here's what you can do. We want to get to all parents, right? So if you're not affected by these issues, it's pretty definite that people you work with, people in your teams, will be going through this. They might not be talking about it because they're probably suffering. But we want to get to them, we want to help them understand that this support is available. So if you have a diversity and inclusion group in your organisation, please let us know, come and talk to us. If you look around the room at the people who are wearing crazy amounts of orange lanyards, so Rachel, Caroline, Tam, they're going to be standing by the door on the way out to talk to you, because we want to come in and talk to as many parents in your organisations as possible. If you're a lawyer and you'd like to sign up to the platform and give the kind of support that that lawyer gave to Cherry to get her what she needed and to change Cherry's life and change the lives of lots of Cherry's neighbours in her borough, then please also get in touch and sign up to the platform and you can help do some pro bono work. We would also like some money because we make a little bit of money go a long way, but we do need some money. So please come and talk to us if you want to give a small donation, buy us a cup of coffee, effectively, just give us a £5. Or if your firm is looking for a charity partner, we'd love to be involved in that as well. Here is the team who's here today. So me, Rachel, Caroline and Tam will be here for the rest of the afternoon. Come and talk to us, come and scan these QR codes here to sign up to one of those options and come and help us. Thank you very much.